Zarna and I clearly got the memo on the colorful green dress.
I got it. I just decided to deviate a little.
Yeah, okay, fine.
We should thank our opening act, Merrick Garland. We really
Right,
should.
yeah.
Right.
He warmed up the crowd,
Yeah,
got
yeah.
them laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex, you've been described as a nebbishy hipster.
By who?
By, I don't remember.
Wait. Is this a Trump thing where like some people are saying you're a nebbishy hipster?
Everyone's been saying it. I actually think of you more as
Wait, no. I'm not like moving on from that. Who's saying I'm a nebbishy hipster?
I will find you the citation later.
Is Jonathan Greenblatt?
I will hold my sources close to the chest.
He's a visionary leader, but he's bald, Jonathan, so we should really just keep it under wraps then.
I like to think of you as a menschy provocateur. How about that?
Fine. I mean, why okay, fine, whatever. Do whatever you want. Go ahead.
But to me, let's give the overview of your show for those few of us who haven't had the absolute delight to see the show. The tagline is basically a nice Jewish boy walks into a neo-Nazi meeting in Queens and comedy ensues.
Sure.
Yeah. Please give us, for those in the room, how it came to be and what at its core are the themes that you're trying to explore.
I guess that's the top line of the show is that I was on Twitter and there were
Zarna's already laughing.
Like, there we go. I was on Twitter. And if you don't know it, it's a dying social media platform. And I wound up going down this rabbit hole of anti-Semites. And if you can believe it, you actually used to have to go down a rabbit hole to find the anti-Semites. But now, for some reason, they're everywhere right in front of you. And someone tweeted, hey, if you have questions about your whiteness, come to this address in Queens tomorrow night at 9:15. And I was like, I have questions about my whiteness. And I'm free tomorrow night at 9:15. Should I go to this? And so I went and I sat there for a while. But the thing I think that's resonated with people is sort of like I think I had a really great, I've had really great collaborators. My director on the show, Adam Brace, Mike Birbiglia, the producer of the show in New York for the first time, is a really great comedian. I grew up being very suspicious of easy comforts. And I thought of how easy the show would be to go and just make fun of them. But I thought a more interesting, thoughtful aspect, sort of actually like reckoning with the things that they're reckoning with, seeing where I have things in common with them, seeing if there are hard questions that I have to ask myself. And also, like, when you're raised in a Jewish community, a very small community, basically a shtetl, right? Like, you sometimes have to do, like, everyone has different opinions, right? Some people might have opinions you find very objectionable, right? Like, you might think someone's, you might think Jared Kushner is like a really pretentious, smug weenie, and someone else might want to give him an award. So, like, it's true. I'm not saying anything that may, look, I'm not saying, it may or may not be me who thinks he's extremely destructive, but I'm just saying that it's, look, any other,
There are clearly no sacred cows safe here.
Yeah.
So as a journalist, I'd like to just point out some breaking news that we have, which is that HBO is about to air your special. So let's take a quick look at the clip, the official promo from HBO, released today.
My name is Alex Edelman. I'm a comedian, and I'm gonna tell you a story. It's a Tuesday night, and I see this tweet, and I send it to my best friend in the world, and I wrote, David, do you want to come with me to this meeting of Nazis in Queens? People are just pulling up chairs. It's like a semicircle, or like an anti-semicircle.
Now I see the nebbishy hipster thing.
Well done. Congratulations. But
Thank
while
you.
we're congratulating, let's congratulate Zarna as well, because you have a special on Amazon, right? Woo! So, you are unapologetically classic Indian immigrant mom, and like so many immigrants like me can relate to the humor that you do. Let's, before we dive in, take a look at a clip of you at work.
I live in New York City with my husband and 3 kids. 2 boys, woohoo! 1 girl, whatever about her. No, it's okay, it's fine. She has a therapist. That's right, I pay $3.50 an hour so the 2 of them can talk smack about me. And my daughter, she's dating a white boy. Yeah. No, it's okay, it's a phase. Everybody goes through it. And I've been most supportive. I told her, you do you, whatever makes you happy, because if I don't say that, that's 6 more sessions at $3.50 an hour. But I did say to her, I said, listen to me, it's fine you're dating this boy, but please don't post a photo with him on the Instagram. And she goes, why not? I said, because if your grandma, Dadi, sees it, she will drop dead. Then I thought about it, I said, okay, post the photo.
As I said, no sacred cows are safe. You don't just like take on stereotypes, you drill right into them and double down on them. Everything from the mother-in-law to entitled teens. Tell me how you go about that.
Well, before I get into that, can I just share a little backstory about this clip?
Please.
Because there is a bit that they didn't allow on TV. And that is, the joke really is, my daughter's dating a white boy, and that's okay, that's a phase, everybody goes through it. And he's Jewish, and I've been most supportive. I told her, you do you, whatever makes you happy, also because I know his mother's gonna put an end to it. See, we all understood each other. Unfortunately, that piece didn't make it to TV.
That is hilarious. That is the most honest laugh I've heard all day. Yeah. You got a lot of dishonest laughter, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Kidding. All right, so.
Some people are saying he's a devilish hipster.
But give us a sense of like how you break down those stereotypes, and you really just are unafraid.
Oh, I don't break them down, I embrace them. I mean, I'm all about the STEM. I want all my kids to be doctors. My daughter is actually a gifted writer. She has an essay, best of New York Times essay, but I killed that because we need doctors.
We don't.
No, we do, Alex.
It's a terrible job.
Alex.
My dad's a doctor. My mom's a lawyer. Which is, shut up! Just shut up. You know what? I actually, not to be serious, I hate to be serious for a second, but like, I really don't like stereotypes. I'm very annoyed at like, I think Jewish comedy's needs to sort of kill its past in order to have a better future. Like, I think the shtick of our parents and grandparents, and a lot of you in the audience that I'm looking at right now, I think this sort of like Catskills comedy that we liked is bad and passe. And I think it'd be nice to see people talk about what it means to be Jewish instead of like, Ashkenazis are like this, Sephardi's are like this, even though that's hilarious and that's Modi. But like besides that, everybody who's like the funniest comic on the planet and my role model and like a huge influence on me, but I want to see more introspective comedy because like, I don't know anyone who wants their kids to be, I'm going to say this and you guys will be like, but I don't know anyone who wants their kids to be like a doctor or a lawyer.
I think you're sitting next to one.
Please, Ganesh, I didn't say that. This is him. Your dad's a doctor, your mom's a lawyer. That's why you could be a comic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Shout out to every doctor, lawyer, every computer person who did the job that like was so hard to do. So their kids today are like growing up. Even my daughter, she's
But
like,
you think our kids are going to be less creative? No one, and I would never allow it. If my kid was like, Dad, I want to be a doctor, I'd be like, no son of mine is going to be a doctor. You're going to be a ballerina like me or a travel influencer like your mom.
Who knew that the comedy segment would turn into Crossfire? That is what's happening. But honestly, Zarna, let's talk a little bit about, you said, you know, the clip didn't make it for TV.
Yeah.
Where are the boundaries? Is there any place you don't go? What is it that's funny or not funny, inappropriate or not appropriate?
the thing is that no one knows. So you have to just use your best judgment and do what you believe is right. Because no one knows. I mean, I have a 65-minute special on Amazon Prime right now, and I have jokes about everything in there. My mother-in-law, which we're not gonna go there, but you know, you guys can watch it for free if you have a Prime account.
I think Korean Americans and Jewish Americans know a thing or two about mother.
Right? You know what I'm. So I have jokes about everything. I have jokes
Just
about.
everyone knows the thing about mother. It's not like it's like, oh, this
But
is my
that's the
culture.
point, isn't it? Is that it's universal.
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
make fun of your thing, but everybody has that thing.
Sure.
But here's the unexpected part. I have jokes about everything. I have jokes about abortion, gun control. I thought I would get in trouble for those jokes. I was pushing the boundaries. None of it. No one cared. No one cared about any of those jokes. It was a joke about my son's height that got me in trouble. That got me all
Please
kinds
tell.
of hate.
Tell
Well,
us more.
he goes from the river to the sea, so that's a very, no, sorry.
See, there's a way to connect it all.
I'm asking myself, should I be laughing?
No,
I don't know.
No, so the joke is that the best news I got in my family, which is actually true, is that my 17-year-old son is now 5'8¼ tall. Like, isn't that amazing? To us, this is great news to Indian people. Like, my husband and I are both short people. We used to pray to God that our son should be tall. And, you know, but it turns out that there is no Hindu god of height. 19,000 gods and not one for the thing every Indian person needs. I mean, what good is it having all these extra arms if you can't reach anything anyway?
Very good, very good. Alex, you're going to ask me for the citation, but I also read somewhere that you see your show as a living, evolving sort of storyline, right? So in a moment of seriousness, you talk in your show about anti-Semitism, about what it means to be a Jew. How has that evolved over time, and obviously specifically after October 7th, and the rise of so much anti-Semitism?
Well, wait, what happened? No, I'm just kidding. I honestly think that look, I think to Zarna's point, you can talk about anything, and you should. Comedians should be talking about the things that are on people's minds. They should be addressing, they should be giving comedy that is conversant with the moment that it's in, but also an escape from it. Like right after October 7th, we had shows in San Francisco, and someone sent me a message or a comment saying, I'm going to come to San Francisco on October 28th and behead you in front of your Zionist buddies. And I was like, well, the shows end on the 27th. Like, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to, like, stick around. But I called my producer, Jenny Gersten, and I was like, Jenny, should we cancel these shows? And I spoke to Modi, spoke to Elon Gold, other comics I love and respect, and we decided to do the shows, and it felt different. The comedy feels that, look, you mount plays. There's a play I saw last night at the Public called The Ally, which is conversant with the moment that we're in right now, and it was written years ago. And so, like, I think that...
But apparently the ending's changed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, like, I think art in general, in comedy, if you want to call it art, I know you probably consider it a distraction, but like, I think it should. I think it should be conversant with the moment that it's in. And I added a couple lines to the show. I opened the show now I say when I was in high school, I saw John Updike, famous novelist, give a talk, and John Updike said, if you're lucky at one point in your life, the work that you write will find itself in conversation with the times in which you live. And then I go, well, call me Mr. Lucky! So, yeah.
It's fascinating to see how you're tackling a lot of these issues. You poke fun at the Orthodox community, at secular community, at every community out there. So I think that's really important. Zarna, you're out there opening for Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. You have a podcast. You've got all sorts of going on. I've listened to episodes on matchmaking, and there may be a yenta or two in the audience, but I've now learned that yenta is not actually the word for matchmaker. It's shadchen, just so we know.
Don't you dare. And shadchan, right?
Shadchan? Okay, so now we know. But anyway, tell me about sort of how you go about and pick these family themes for your podcast. You've gotten them involved?
Oh, yeah,
You wanna
because...
poll the audience?
What? I'm trying
Stuck
to
in
remember
your
if,
brain
if it's shadchan or what? Shadchan, that's right.
Shadchan, thank you. Thank you so much. This is our audience participation part of the panel. But how do you pick the family themes and the issues that you delve into?
So first of all, it was very easy to get them all involved because I realized, I was like, why am I the only one working? Well, the kids should be working. You know, why am I the only, it's comedy, it's making videos and, you know, stuff that kids do anyway. And no bar is low enough in our family. We, you know, if something is gonna track, we're gonna talk about it. But it came from a space of talking about things that brown families don't talk about. And I thought our family was the only family that had kids, teens and above, who had never talked about sex. So our first episode is called The Sex Talk, where my husband and I ask the kids what they know about sex.
Oh my God.
And it's, right? And I thought we were the only family that had never talked about it. It turns out no one's talking about sex. So it was like a revelation. And in an episode where I have my 20-year-old and my 17-year-old and my 11-year-old, I thought it would be the older two who would have something to say. It was actually my 11-year-old who was like, I've kissed a girl.
That's a
But you know, it
early
came
rising.
from that space of opening up conversations that don't really happen in brown families, and now we're discovering in any families.
When I went to a yeshiva, and there was they didn't tell us we were going to have sex ed. They just one day went, you're getting new schedules. And where there used to be history, it just said sex with the rabbi, and I was like, every Tuesday? And I had ADHD, so I get time and a half on everything. So I'm just like, you know.
Alex, you talked. I literally keep asking myself, can I laugh at this? You talked about sort of rebranding Jewish humor, and yet you have been referred to as like a generational talent by some of the greats. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like Jerry Seinfeld, Billy Crystal, come to his show, go backstage, give him notes, which he then has co-opted into his show. Norman Lear, Mel Brooks, they've all sort of lauded praise on you.
You know.
And, but you know, think about it. There's a tradition of the producers, right? Max Bialystock making fun of like Springtime for Hitler. I'd be curious how you think Jewish humor, the history of it, I'm sure you've given thought to this, and where does it go to?
I think that, first of all, when you consider some of those, by the way, when those guys came to the show, I kept thinking like, how did anyone ever shoot Abe Lincoln? Because everyone was watching them watch the show. Like, no one was watching the show, they were watching them. Wasn't every scene in that play, someone was like, what does Lincoln think of that? Yeah. But yeah, all these guys, they came, you know who shot, I didn't realize that it was like, okay, we won't, okay.
But
sorry, focus, I have to answer your question,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
It was like the most famous actor's brother shot Lincoln. It's like if Emilio Estevez shot the president. It's crazy. All right, fine. What was the question? It's about the famous comedians. Yeah, famous comics coming to the show. It's and the tradition of yeah.
It's in there. I know.
Yeah. Look, it's amazing. I think not to generalize about Jewish culture, but I grew up in a very teacher-focused environment, and so my heroes and idols and people like Norman and Mel Brooks and those guys mean a lot to me, and you learn really valuable lessons from them. But if you think about how daring that comedy was, like the producers came out in like 1966. Holocaust survivors were in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. They were hearing jokes about the Holocaust that were like front and center. There's like Heil Hitlers on their screens, on their stages. And I think that level of daring is something that is really, really important. But it was daring, but it was kind. And like people often mistake, they go, oh, comedy has to be funny. I think that's kind of true. But like my favorite jokes, like I think my favorite joke isn't very funny. Like my favorite jokes, yeah, probably my 3 or 4 favorite jokes aren't very funny.
What's your favorite joke?
All right, so this guy dies. I'll tell you this, sure. Fine. This guy dies, he goes to heaven. He's waiting in line for frozen yogurt. And he looks to his right, and God's there, and he's like, oh, God. And God's like, hi, Mark. And he's like, oh, thanks so much. Life is really cool. Deer and the fjords, all, thank you so much, big fan. And God's like, always, yeah, no problem. And so they're waiting in line, and it's like a hold up at the front. And the guy says, God? And God's like, yeah, man. And he said, do you want to hear a joke? And God's like, oh, sure, I love jokes. And the guy tells God a Holocaust joke. And God says, well, I have to tell you, I don't find that joke funny at all. And the guy goes, well, guess you had to be there, huh? And see, that gets that reaction. But there isn't a no, that gets that reaction in every room. But there isn't a single person who wouldn't be like, that's a great joke. Like that joke makes a beautiful point in a beautiful way. And occasionally 1 out of every 1,000 people laughs at that. And if I ever meet the right person, I'll marry that person. But like, yeah, that's the, like, I think Jewish comedy has always made really important points. Going back to like Isaac Bashevis Singer, going back to like, there are great Jewish novelists, great Jewish writers, Norman, man, I miss Norman.
Yeah.
Oh God. He always say, I'm just another, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. But.
No. I do wonder though about this evolution of Jewish comedy that you're talking about. How does it evolve from, the history,
Shicky hacks?
From the shicky hacks?
I think it's focused on like what it meant to be Jewish in the 60s and 70s, as this conference is kind of, a lot of the conversations this conference has been about is a different existence than Jews have now. We live different lives. Jews in America occupy a different place than we did, a more complicated place, a really difficult place to understand. Like we have different types of anti-Semitism. We want to wipe them all out per anti-Semitism, but we also have it's okay to be Jewish as long as you're not in any way actually considering Judaism an animating force, the sort of Hanukkah anti-Semitism. Like our lives are different lives. And I think addressing the complexity and nuance of that experience, people say like, oh, you can't say anything now. You can say pretty much anything on stage. You can get away with pretty much anything, provided you show your work, provided people understand the point that you're making, and we need more nuanced, complicated comedy to talk about the more nuanced, complicated times that we are living in.
This clock.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I really do appreciate.
The clock is our enemy, but I want to give you the final words. Zarna, give me a sense of, we talk from this stage a lot about uncomfortable conversations. Sometimes your comedy makes people uncomfortable. How do you think about that?
Some people are saying sometimes your comedy makes people uncomfortable.
Well, I just wanted to actually answer the question you asked, Alex, about how Jewish comedy is evolving. And I will tell you that my entire comedy career would not exist without Jewish women in comedy. So, teaching me that it's okay to trash my mother-in-law on stage is one evolution that you may not have seen coming, and now I'm doing it on a global scale. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining us today, for sharing your laughter and comedy. Yes? I don't want to bury any thoughts from you.
No. Look, I think it's real. You're not going to say who said the Nebuchadnezzar hipster thing. It's totally fine.
He's not fixated at all, don't worry.
You just say like Woody Allen before all the stuff.
Exactly,
Like that's
exactly.
the type of thing.
Thank you both for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much.
Thank you for being
very
here.
much.
Enjoy. You're hilarious. You're great.
I think we follow.
Kill it out there.